Today I'm playing with Paynes Gray and white to make these beautiful but simple backgrounds using no more than things that you would already have lying around your home. So in this video I'll not only show you how I made these beautiful textured papers, but what I did with them a few days later. Hi, I'm JoanieB, inviting you to relax, play and make beautiful Gelli print art with me. Today I'm going to show you one of my favourite ways to build beautiful layered textures using Paynes Gray, white acrylic and few things found around the house. I'm starting by covering the jelly plate with a thin layer of Paynes Gray. I'm not aiming for full opacity here, I just want a slightly uneven layer so the plate still has some variation. I'm beginning to make some marks with everyday objects, the top of a jar and the blister pack from tablets, just to make some nice textures. And as you can see, I'm starting to put the paper down. It's just regular copy paper. I place the pieces directly onto the plate in various positions, overlapping slightly, leaving gaps, rotating them and placing them at different angles. Again, there's no pattern or order here. Once the paper is down, I gently rub the back and pull the print. This gives me my first layer, Paynes Gray, with lots of interesting marks and variation. I now cover the plate with a very thin layer of white. I also bring back the papers from the first pull. I rotate them, flip them and place them back on the plate in a completely different arrangement. Nothing lines up where it was before. Some pieces may overlap, but that's okay. This layering process is what creates depth. You start to see subtle shifts between the dark grey, the muted grey and the white. I've pulled the print again and reveal a more complex surface. Now I'm adding another layer of Paynes Gray and this time a little bit of white. I repeat the same process with the tools. The jar top first for bold circles and also the tablet blister pack for those tiny repeated dots. Also I've used a shower hook for those more irregular circle marks and I've found a comb to make some wavy lines. Now I'm bringing back the little rectangles of paper we printed earlier. This time I'm placing those lovely prints that's got the Paynes Gray and veiled white on them face down. I'm rotating them as I go, turning some sideways, some upside down, so that the circles and lines all head off in different directions. I'm also varying where I place them on the plate so we don't get any obvious patterns. And now we can start to see the results. Some areas have stayed quite dark, some have turned a soft grey, and some pick up much more of the white, giving us real contrast. Already these pieces have a lot more depth and interest than just a single pull. And now I'm going to repeat the process a couple more times so I can really build up the complexity of the textures. Another very light layer of white and Paynes Gray goes down on the plate. I'm using a little less paint this time so I get more broken, patchy areas where the plate shows through and the previous layers can peek through. Again, I'm laying down the papers in a random pattern. This way, the papers are covered with a very thin veil of a smoky grey, which is the mixture of the white and the Paynes Gray. I'm starting to lift the papers now, and I'm really happy with how things are starting to look. I have dark areas, light areas, and that lovely smoky grey atmosphere across the textured paper. Another very light layer of white goes down on the plate. I'm using a little less paint this time, so I get more broken, patchy areas where the plate shows through and the previous layers can peek out. Back in with the jar top and the blister pack and the shower hook. You notice I don't always use them in the same order, and I'm changing where I put the marks each time. That keeps the patterns from looking too regular or too predictable. Now I'm pressing those same rectangles back into the plate. I'm still rotating the pieces as I go, and I'm not worrying about matching the patterns underneath. The joy of this technique is in the surprises, where the circles overlap lines, where the dark areas from the first pull meets a light area from the latest layer. When I lift these off, you can see how rich they're becoming. They've got areas of deep Paynes Gray places where it's softened into a smoky mid-grey, and then pops of bright white on top from the latest round of mark making. This is the final layer, and I'm starting off by putting quite a bit of Paynes Gray on the plate with a little dab of white. I'm going to use the same tools again, but this time I'm going to start out with the comb and make some wavy lines, which I think is going to add more interest to the piece. The jar top goes down, as usual, and then a smaller top. Now when I press the rectangles down, I'm trying to pay attention to balance. If the piece already has a lot of dark Paynes Gray, I'll try to place it into a lighter area of the plate. If it's already quite pale, I'll aim for somewhere that's a little bit darker. That way each rectangle ends up with a really nice range of tones. Again, I'm twisting and turning the papers, placing them at angles, sometimes overlapping. All of those small decisions stop the pieces from looking too blocky or stiff. When I lift them this time, you can really see the results of working in layers. Now we've got multiple rounds of circles, dots, stripes and hooks all sitting on top of each other, with Paynes Gray, soft greys and white all playing nicely together. And I'm sure you'll be glad to hear that this is the final pull, and it's a ghost print. I've covered the plate with white, and all I'm going to do is simply place the paper over the top and pull what's left of the paint on the plate onto the paper. And here we have a lovely patterned textured paper, a really lovely ghost print. So let's have a look at what we've created. You can see those lovely subtle shifts in value, from deep inky Paynes Gray through muted greys all the way through to bright white. The jar tops and the shower hook give us some strong circular shapes, and the blister packs add tiny, almost textural dots, and the comb pulls everything together with movement and direction. And the best part is that all this came from just 2 colours of paint and a handful of simple household objects. I hope this has given you some ideas for your own jelly printing sessions with Paynes Gray and white. Have a look round your home and see what you can find. Jar lids, packaging, old combs, bits of plastic, all have potential to make really beautiful prints. And once you've made your prints, what are you going to do with them? Well, I made this lovely collage with mine, and if you'd like to know how I did that, I'll leave a link in the description below. So if you enjoyed this video, why not have a look at the others on my channel?